this meeting of the Dublin Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.
Bob Servetto.
Here.
Cole Leatherwood.
Here.
Pat Leatherwood.
Here.
Ron Mitchell.
Here.
James Moore.
Here.
Raymond Salinas.
Here.
And Del Castallo.
All right, join with me as we pray. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for being part of this ISD. God, I pray that as we are gearing up for a new year, that you give us the wisdom to partake in all the things that need to happen, and that we can be full to the expectations of what we have and where we're going. God, I pray for the health and safety of our school year and all the things that go involved in that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Hey, fellas.
And this is so exciting. Thank you all for coming to do this, to lead us in our pledge. And
Paul, get Danny to get your stroke on that. Drew, you got the deal turned?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just ask.
Oh yeah, we're
Thanks,
good.
Drew.
We're good.
I'm sure you are. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, guys. It's awesome.
You're good.
anytime that you get to see kids over the summer, it's a great day. And today was a really great day because we get to see you guys tonight. Junior high and high school dandelions, they were having their camp, got to see them. Band was having their camp, got to see them. So it's been a great day at Russell District.
Amen. All right. All right. Do we have any recognition?
No.
No recognition. Any public comments?
Not tonight.
No public comments, not agenda. Okay. Go to report agenda.
Yes,
Okay.
and there was a lot in this item. You have your monthly financials, some board training opportunities. If anyone would like to go to TexEdCon in October, please let Glenna know. That's normally one we have not gone to because it seems like it always falls with homecoming. I asked Glenna, I said, do we have a football schedule yet? She said, no, not yet. But if you would like to go and you know those dates are available, let Glenna know. She can help get you signed up and get your hotel reserved.
Where's that at?
It's in Houston,
Oh, good.
the 8th through the 11th of October. And it opens tomorrow. Registration opens tomorrow. So if y'all are interested, just let me know.
There might be another reason we didn't go.
Anywhere that you
Homecoming. We also have our governance camp in Galveston, which we've enjoyed going to. That is March 3rd through the 6th. I would love to go to that one if anybody else would like to. I'd be glad to go and supervise you all. Make sure you don't get too much Rita's Italian ice.
It's got benefits.
Yes, yes.
Hey,
You guys need a little culture.
we have to have something to touch over with your driving.
That is true. I will not deny that. Yes.
Don't forget, October 19th, you guys are all signed up. I've got you all registered for Strawn.
Yes.
And
that'll
that'll
go
be
to
your
that.
team of 8
Yes.
that day as well, as long as everybody's there.
All right. Will you also check with Stephenville, because I think through the service center, they're gonna offer the EIOS, whatever, 3-hour
EISO?
clinic. And I'd sure like to do it there instead of Galveston.
Okay,
When is the
Saturday.
one that's in Strong, October?
October 19th. And I've got you guys registered for that already.
Yes, yes.
As long as everybody's there, that'll get our team of 8.
Yeah.
All right. That's October 19th, that's a Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. And then SLI is already posted as well, and that's June, oh, grapevine this year.
Yeah, that's San Antonio or Grapevine this year.
So, we've been to both, San Antonio or Fort Worth, so I guess when it gets closer, when it gets closer to that opening, Glenna, you can remind us again.
Oh, yes, yes.
We'll try to make that
Is
decision.
that a Great Wolf Lodge?
Probably at the
One in
end.
Grapevine, or is it the other place?
They haven't told me where yet, but I mean, it could be, what do you call
Probably the
it?
Gaylord.
It could be Gaylord also,
It's at the
yeah.
Gaylord.
You're gonna
It
want
could
to
be,
watch.
I don't know yet. They haven't told us where yet, just
Are
when.
you gonna get it 6 miles from us so I can get my steps in? Just ask. Just ask. It's been a great day today.
I was thinking maybe 10 miles this year.
Bob,
I've
Bob,
got higher expectations this year for you.
Bob. I don't wanna go with him.
Paul? No comments. You're in the same deal as Drew, you gotta behave. No media.
The student employee handbook, there weren't any major changes, this year. I was talking earlier that if it's not a legislative year, there's usually not a lot of big changes. Last year, we had that. But for the student, handbook, it just mentions that, private spaces can only be used by one sex at a time. You can't have males and females in private spaces together. For the employee handbook, a change that was enacted last year was if we have to file a CPS report, then we now have to do it within 24 hours of us having that information. Then I have 48 hours if a school employee has been involved in any misconduct, whether I feel it's true or untrue. I have 48 hours to report that to TEA, and then I have to also report that to SBEC. So those were basically the changes.
Right. Number 9, discussion items.
Do we need to approve the student loan?
Do we?
I'll,
Let me back it up.
suggestion, motion.
Do we normally approve the student
That's what
and
I
employee handbook,
I got
or is that just discussion?
No, it's just under the report agenda, but we will have to approve the student code of conduct further down.
When we get to that point.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, discussion items.
Perfect. Is John?
John's here.
Oh, I didn't see you back there.
He snuck in right at the, right at the last minute.
Well, we will let you go first, John. So if you would like to spend all evening with us, you are always more than welcome. But if you would like to present and then get back on the road, that is fine too.
I can do that. Would you have the ability to plug it in a flash drive?
You bet.
Okay, perfect.
I said yes, and then I had to look to make sure I had it.
Make sure.
Yes.
Your computer doesn't have the USB.
How are you? Good, good to see you. Your eyes are probably better.
Drew?
Or
Are
Drew
we
can help us.
casting up there on the? Yeah.
Help me, brother.
Here's-
There's a Dublin folder, and it should be the only thing in there. It's PDF presentation.
You take it, please.
There you
PDF.
go. It is, yeah. You should go in the present mode if you want to do that, or maybe.
Why is that makes me happy?
should be fine. That should be fine.
Okay, we can be hired.
I'll be your man.
Okay.
Clear it.
In the right spot, everybody has a beat on me, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, I appreciate you having me tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't be at one of the last meetings. I know we worked on a few things. I think first and foremost, you were in a position where on your INS side, your bond side, you had collected enough money over time that you had your last year or two worth of payments in the account. When you get to that point, it's good to be aware of it. It's also good to stop collecting on the INS side because you have enough money to pay off your existing debt, which you did. Was a very simple transaction with a very short timeline. We went ahead and knocked that out starting in March and April. So your prior bond, which I believe was a Series 2015, is paid off completely. Yes. At least 2 years early and did save a little bit of interest there. So that's a wonderful thing. As a result of that, obviously you will be setting an INS rate that is zero, that reflects having no outstanding debt service. Your prior INS rate was somewhere right in that 10-cent range, 10.33 cents. What you can see on the screen is kind of just a historical look at what both your M&O and INS tax rate have done in the past. So the dark blue bars there are M&O, the light blue are INS. I think, kind of starting in that first year of 2027, and even the year before that, 2026, your M&O rate was substantially higher than what it was for the following decade and a half or more. So that was the first tax rate compression. You guys can see right there in 2015, 2016, you did have a TRE, a ratification or a rollback election at that time to go after your additional M&O pennies that were available to you at the time. In 2019, compression started back up again. The legislature started messing with the funding formula again. You can see how those dark blue bars, starting in 2019, 2020, they started to decrease even more and more and more. That's continued compression on the M&O side. I think you can also see that the light blue little bars there, your INS rate was also decreasing at that time. I think that was probably because your local assessed value in the school district had started to pick up at that point, and you guys were probably adjusting your tax rate accordingly, giving as much tax rate back to your public as you could in any given year. So all very, very good moves as long as you're still able to make your debt service payment. In your case, it looks like over the years it built up enough excess to pay it off a little bit early. So just wanted you to see your historical tax rate setting. I think the one note I would make is in the last 3 or so years, you have been at probably the lowest tax rate setting that the district has ever had. That's a result of both legislative action and growth in assessed value. But from a tax rate standpoint, you're at one of the lowest rates you've ever been at, and that 10-cent bar will go away, at least for this next year. So you'll be at the lowest tax rate setting the district's ever set. So. On the assessed value side, you can see that you have had pretty steady growth on the assessed value side. That's all value categories. That's total taxable value in the school district. It's not just any one category. I think from 2007 through about 2019, 2020, somewhere in that range, that seems to be pretty natural value growth from one year to the next. We do know that as a part of the legislation that took place in 19 and 20, there was a mandate at the state level to all 254 county appraisal districts that they were now going to have to be within a certain value level in every value category, within 5% below or 5% above their mark. And I think you can see that indication in where your value has grown in kind of that 2021, 22 period right in there. You have seen some increases in assessed value, and that's been statewide. And I know that your county appraiser probably took most of the heat for that, but that was really a state level decision and is reinforced every year by the state comptroller when they send out that sheet that they're supposed to be within. From a school district standpoint, it's always nice to have a steady and steadily growing value base that provides you stability. It allows you to consider lower tax rates. It allows you to consider things like what are our bond capacity if we just hang on to some of our pennies or stay in line with where our tax rate settings have been in the past. So a growing value base is never a bad thing from the school district side of things. So that's great. It's good historical value. So just some quick results on the redemption. You were able to knock off the last 2 years worth of your bond payments. Because it is the last 2 years, there's not a ton of interest savings associated with it. Net interest savings of about $19,000. But it is 2 lesser years worth of tax rate setting that you made for the public. And that's all since been taken care of. So I think that timeline started towards the end of March and into April, and that has already closed and happened. And I think the tax rates that you'd be considering for August or even early posting this month should reflect that. That was a good thing to do and have behind you. That is what drives the 0 INS rate setting down from 10.33 pennies. So one of the things that I was asked to look at is how could no more than 10.33 pennies be used to our benefit in the future? One of the things that was discussed was you guys do have some financings that took place on the M&O side, and that the annual payment is a pledge of your M&O budget, dollars that are used for operating the district, not necessarily INS dollars. There is the possibility of putting those financings on a ballot as a voted item and moving them off of your M&O budget and onto the INS side. So that's one thing that we could do that might make use of the traditional 10 to 15 pennies that you've had on your books for several years. The longest payback on any one of those notes is 7 years from now. So it would be considered a refinancing of that debt. You would be refinancing it from the M&O side to the INS side. When we refinance things like that, we cannot extend past the original term and still keep our PSF guarantee and our PSF backing on those things, which I think we have both. So what I did was I just lined it up for 7 years. So you can see refi of M&O notes. It would be a series 27. It's just the earliest time period that we thought you might want to look at it. I just had to pick a date to set it up, so we used 27. The INS rate that would be required, and this is based on this last year's certified value, not your prelims from this year or your certifieds that are due in 5 days. That's just based on last year's value, would be about 6.3 cents. So in order to move both of those notes over to the INS side would require 6.3 pennies of the 10.33 that you previously had on the INS side. We have not run yet a savings analysis on what that would look like. There's a chance that the rate may go down a little bit and moving it over. There's a chance it may stay the same. There's a chance it may go up a tiny bit. The net benefit to you is anything that you're currently taking out of your M&O budget and using for those payments would go back into your general M&O budget. It can be used for purposes more in line with everyday M&O expenditures. All of the things that come up there, that you've dealt with inflation, cost inflation on things over the years, and I'm sure you've had teacher pay discussions and all those things. So that money would be back available to you in the general budget.
And how much, Cassie?
Roughly $375,000 a year is what we're having to allocate out of our M&O to pay that debt.
And those financings, I think, were all good things. That was the field, the locker room stuff that happened over there. I mean, they all went to very, at the time, sounded like needed, legitimate purposes that people wanted to see addressed. So none of that money went anywhere that it wasn't supposed to, and none of that money went into anything that you can't go and see, or that I think that your folks here in town have taken advantage of and had the use of. So everything that was done with those dollars also lines up well to be on the bond side and not just the M&O side.
No, I think it was money that was very well spent. We did a lot of great things with that money. However, in saying that, it has kind of handicapped us into not being able to do some other things, but that's just the way the world works.
It is. You did those things, and then the M&O rate got further compressed, and your budget got tighter on a year-by-year basis, and you didn't have any control over that or any way to really see it coming. And so, you made the best decision you could at the time, and then the state continued to compress, and things got tighter, and cost of everything went up. And
Nobody saw that.
Such as the world works, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. You just make the best decision you can with the information you have at the time.
Yes.
I think you guys did that and made good use of the money, so. With that requirement of 6.3 pennies, that clearly leaves roughly 4 cents, 4.03 pennies of available prior INS rate, the 10.33 cents that you just had on your books this last year. And the question was, okay, if we wanted to take advantage of those other 4 pennies in some way, shape, or form, what would that look like? And how much could we do? I know that there were a few things that were under discussion when the prior M&O notes were into place that were strictly based around facilities that didn't get to happen. And so those may still be facility needs that you have today. Those could all be possible things that you might address with some of the new money that's there. So as a part of that, we put in some new money Series 27. That would be in conjunction with the refinancing. We did run that out to 10 years. I think that's kind of a good middle ground for all facilities. It still is a very much shorter term than your traditional long-term bonds for major facilities construction and things like that. So if you were building a brand new building to service some grades, then it would be a much longer bond and you'd need a much greater amount. But in order to maximize that 10.33 pennies, we did pick a 10-year term. That could easily be 12 years, that could easily be 8 years. It's just kind of a starting point. So if we took an additional 4.03 cents, which would take us up to 10.33 total, and we applied that to new money over 10 years, that would give you the availability of about 1.65 million in new money on a 10-year note. I think that was an amount that was sufficient to cover at least 1 or 2 of the prior facility needs that were discussed when the M&O notes were taken out. So those could all be done on the same ballot. So I'm going to use the next one we have that's not November, May of 2027. If you want to consider something like that in May of 27, you could do it all on the same ballot. They would have to be separate propositions. So in order to move something from M&O to INS, that has to be its own proposition, much like many other things that have become their own proposition recently. The new money would be one general prop that spoke about addressing facilities in a general sense, so that money had some flexibility. Over on the right there, total proceeds, you could just see that about 1.99 million or so would go towards paying off the 2 M&O notes and moving them to the INS side. About 1.65 million of new money proceeds for a total of about 3.64 million. So to move everything over and to have some new money availability and not to exceed that 10.33 pennies that was your last INS tax rate set this last year. So.
Okay, so by moving this over, that allows us to have money that can be used for teachers pay without any problems, and still keep our tax rate at a rate lower or about the same as what we've got.
This last year. So this last year, you had the 76 cents of the 10.33 INS pennies. This year, because your bond is paid off, you will have to go to 0 on INS. If you did something like that next year, you would reset those 10.33 pennies again. So there would be a small downturn in tax rate right there for the fact that the old bond is paid off.
Right.
And then you'd be kind of at the same rate you were this last year. And you'd get an injection into your budget of roughly $375,000 that has previously been spent on debt service for those 2 notes. So yeah.
Well, I think what's misleading, a lot of people, think of finances as if there's just one big lump sum and everything can be used for whatever it needs to. And it can't in the school system. And so the way it is now, with the money tied up the way it is, no matter how much we want to pay the teachers, we cannot get it out of these funds unless we move them over and get a bond.
That's correct. That's correct. So you could look at it this way: in some way, shape, or form, your M&O budget, of which funds are available for a lot of things, including teachers, is restricted by $375,000 that you have to set aside for debt service.
Right.
And if you were were to move those notes over onto the bond side, then you gain that money back directly to your budget, so. And you wouldn't necessarily be increasing your M&O tax pennies at all. Those would still, you'd still be collecting the same as you were before, you just have 375 less liability on that budget.
Well, and I feel like that the school has done an excellent job of taking care of the facilities, building the facilities they needed at a good time. If we can get this done and take care of our teachers, take care of other things that are needed right now, keep that tax rate at a reasonable, where it's not, if we were gonna pass a $50 million bond, I don't know if we do that, but anyway, a $50 million bond, that would take tax rates up high, and this would.
It would keep it in line with what was your lowest tax rate setting ever, until this year when your bond paid off.
Right.
And this is a very reasonable thing for districts to be considering when they do have a bond payoff coming up, is if we just keep that tax rate in place, can we be a good steward of additional funds for needs that we have as a district? And then that's, you're right in that time period now.
It's easy to lower tax rates, but if all of a sudden you're gonna turn around and jack them up in a year or 2 years, that kinda seems right. That's the tough thing that people see. They go, well, you just increase tax rates all this much. It's a lot easier to give $1 than it is to take $1. And so if we can do this and keep that tax rate pretty close to what we've been, I like it.
And these are not, these are all mutually exclusive, so if you didn't have new money needs right now and you wanted to leave that alone, you could, and you would only increase your INS rate back up by maybe 6 or 7 pennies as opposed to 10, so.
So it would still be lower than.
It would still be lower than it's ever been, with the exception of this year, again, because your bond is paying off, but,
So what you're saying for our community, since Drew's got us on cable news network, that really, we've done a really good job with our finances.
Yeah.
We're really in a good spot. And we've just got this chunk of money we can't do nothing with unless we can move it over to the INS side, which will free it up.
You do. You
That puts us great.
did something that a lot of districts did in the past when there was some M&O funds available, was to consider financings on that side. We don't live in that world anymore. M&O budgets are as tight as they can be.
Right.
And so that now becomes a restrictive factor. And given that you've done everything you can to get your old bond paid off, this could be a very acceptable replacement of that bond on the bond side for the next 7 years. And again, we're not talking about long-term stuff here.
Right.
There's even a chance that if, let's say you move it over and assessed values continue to grow, or you decide to set the full 10.33 pennies, you could make additional principal reductions, or I could even shorten that down. It says 7 years, 6.3 cents. If you wanted 10.33, maybe we could pay it off in 4 or 5 years. So there's lots of discussions as to how to manage what would happen in the most effective way, but at the very most, you have some new money up there for 10 years. And so
Have new money, and it shows the state that we're in debt, so that way they don't take anything else from us.
that's true.
How we doing? I'm really liking you tonight. That's some good stuff.
I hear that all the time.
Is there any negative to doing it this way, future negative, as far as that you can foresee that we would be able to potentially have a
No, not necessarily. The only drawback is some of these transitional financings is, there's a chance you might lose your PSF guarantee, which is your state backing. But in your setup, as long as we did it in the right way, that would be there. Interest rates have come back down substantially from where their peak was in, call it February, March area. So you're in a better interest rate environment today than you were even when you paid off your bond. There's not a whole lot of downside to this. The one thing that might be considered a negative is that you would have to present to your public. You would go through the explanation process, just like what we've talked about, what you're doing, to make sure that people that were interested and wanted to know had all the right information. And then it would have to pass a referendum to go into place and to happen. So.
Well, that's where I was coming from, is we go out, if we choose to do this, and we go to sell it to the community, to let another one fiscally responsible. And we're trying to just do this, so that way we can make things even better.
When you haven't had a bond sale since 2015, and I believe that was a refunding of a prior bond even in 2015. So as far as a facilities bond, you haven't had one in, call it 20 years, 20 plus years. To have the facilities you have, without having a bond in 20 years is pretty impressive management in and of itself.
Well, and what Bob was kind of going to is that the government, the state, if you can save that money back, you can do all this, and if they think you're doing really good, they can take that money.
Get penalized, that's right.
And they're not gonna give you money, but they don't mind taking money. So,
Very, yes, sir.
So let's just say we present a bond, and that's a bad word. Nothing is that process. People say no, no matter what.
Anyone in this room,
They're
yeah.
not trying to open up, they're not trying to even open up discussion, it's no. What if it fails, and we're not able to pass that, then what are we stuck?
Your position doesn't change from where it is today. You would still be paying that $375 out of your budget every year. Well, I say that, your INS tax rate will have dropped 10.33 cents and will be at 0, so you'll be at about a 10-cent lower tax rate. But, again, 10 pennies versus the restriction on your budget of $375,000 is kind of what we would want away. So if you proposed it and it was not passed, then your situation from your side of things would be largely unchanged. I mean, your bond would be good.
except we wouldn't be able to take care of our teachers. And that's the
We would have a
You
flexibility.
would be 375,000 short, but doing all the other things in your budget that are not making that payment.
That's just the scary part, it's just public, it's,
It's the perception of it.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
And in the smaller district, 375,000 a year is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was a bigger district towards the Metroplex, then they may think, okay, well, that's still an acceptable number. But in a smaller district, that goes with a lot of juice and a lot of direction. So, if you had a lower payment amount, if you only had 50 or 100,000 of debt service out of your budget every year, you may be thinking the same things.
Right.
Is this really viable or worth us proposing to the public to move forward? And they have to make your decision that way, but
Almost $400,000 is a lot of.
That's a lot of
money for our district.
that's a lot of money.
Well, you start thinking about fuel cost, energy, and everything else that goes up, I mean, that's all that ain't another. So I mean, that just squeezes you that much more, if we can't free it up. And so it's,
And that,
But we've been in those, we're good.
I like your hat.
I just asking questions.
Yeah, you would.
I mean,
That was
if
a
you
great
didn't
question.
do something like this, it'd be another 7 years before you saw those funds.
We'll get it.
And then, of course, the new money part of it, which I guess, totally optional. I wanted to show you
Sure.
how to use 10.33 cents between two different options, but it's not tied to the switch over of those other notes at all. It just is there so you understand what you could go get and not exceed your prior tax rates.
But it would look good to the state that we're in debt.
State loves to have everybody in debt.
I understand that.
Realistically, with where your budget is today, to do anything that would be considered medium to major with your facilities, a renovation, an addition or something, even outside stuff like courts of some sort or whatever, still is going to require a bond. Very few districts at this point in time are willing to look at their general fund balance and say, yeah, let's just buy off $1 million right now in cash and do it that way. As a matter of fact, there are some districts that are saying, instead of doing it up front like that, we want to do a 3-year note on the M&O side, so we can eat that elephant in 3 bites over the next 3 years, as opposed to just shelling out all the cash.
That's right.
And so, yeah, it's everybody's goalie's playing real close to the net nowadays. I mean, you just want to make sure that you have a weather eye on your general fund balance and how your annual budget is shaping up. I think with the smaller dollar amounts here, this would be a candidate to be privately placed as well. So we would probably solicit bids from individual banks as opposed to trying to take this bond to the public bond market and contract with an underwriter and sell public bonds. There's a lot of minimum expense that's required to that you don't have to go through if you privately place. So with the dollar amount we're looking at $8 on the transaction as well, so should be pretty cost effective all around.
So can you talk us through next steps if this is the direction we're looking at?
Yeah, so next steps would be to kind of identify maybe the timing that you think might work best for y'all as a district. The calling deadline for November of 2026 is August 17th. I believe that's a Monday. August 17th, I know the date, I don't know exactly what day of the week it is. So yeah, if you felt like trying to include this on a November ballot, you would have to make a decision sometime prior to August 17th to call it, which would require some quick steps. Legal counsel preparing a document for you to call, that kind of thing. The next available election cycle would be May of 27. You would have a calling deadline in mid-February. It would give you a little bit more time to talk about it internally, talk about it externally, prepare documents, get the right team on board, get legal working on what they need to work on, all of the things. A little bit more breathing room before it actually got called for a ballot. Transparency and communication is key, so it will give you quite a bit of time before it actually went on a ballot for you to communicate and give that information and kind of find out how maybe those outside the boardroom would feel about something like that, and maybe you would be able to make a better decision. I never try and rush things. I'm on your schedule is what I'm trying to say.
Well, you bring up a good point. See, we've been discussing about doing this, so to us, it feels like this is something, but for us to communicate it out, they may perceive it as a knee-jerk reaction. And we don't want that to happen.
We don't want
because
someone trying to think we're trying to
slide something in. So you bring up, that's a good point.
I would
Because
say,
when we go to sell it, do what?
Well, there's also the thing is that there's never been, and maybe you can correct me on this, but a bond passed during the presidential election.
I've had one pass out of dozens.
Yeah.
So
Very good point.
I mean, picking your place is really important because, and we've got midterms coming up.
yeah.
So what you're saying, you want to do it during the board elections? Is that what you're saying? Because I know who's up. I'm just saying.
Well, the thing is, if you go to 0 for a year, and you go up.
But not as big. We got a chance to go not as big,
It's
yeah.
easier to sell it to 0
Be
than it is to sell
careful
to
because
7.
there aren't better
6 cents.
times to have one, because, you don't do it during presidential elections. Probably don't do it during the midterm, so figure out the quickest we can do it that falls between those two. Just saying.
Some very good points there. I mean, realistically, if you ask me what the next cycle would be, it would be May of 27, that you have the availability to and still have a certain amount of comfort with being able to get everything in line and get communicated the way you want to.
Yes, because that's the important piece there.
Well,
When do you have the most people come out and vote for the school board? I mean, any kind of stuff that deals with the school. I mean, really.
nobody will come, if
If
there's
you're not gonna come in November, don't do it, because I think you're gonna be pulling the wool over their eyes. I mean, that's really what it's gonna be.
But if you do it during a popular election,
Start lining those Novembers up with federal and presidential elections, and you'll see voter turnout that may exceed your registered voters, which is, interesting thing to see. So, that's a point very well made and taken, is that we do want to be very aware of what federal elections look like, and that we're not mixing people's feelings on federal politics with some very simple blocking and tackling that the school district's trying to communicate to the public. So, there can be a lot lost in that message. So I think
and at the school classes, when we go to these seminars and short courses and stuff like that, there's always a lot of good classes based on getting the word out effectively to your community and to the folks around, and we'll have some time to attend those classes and kind of know which way to go.
certainly something we would help with as well. The information you saw in the presentation about your historical tax rates and what your values have done, make all that available to you and help produce a presentation, those type of things, and just make sure that you have everything you need. In this particular situation, I think the communication piece coming from either board members or those that have a vested interest in the school district is going to sound and look a lot better than having some sort of team of professionals. The reason I say that is there's not, in just moving those things over, there's not necessarily a construction project that requires a construction manager, so why would we have one talking about it right now? If you did want to take some of the new money and construct something, and then we could talk specifically about that piece. But I think you guys have a better understanding of the pulse of your community.
I thought this money we're talking about was to be able to pay the teachers more, not to build something.
Well,
I'm confused.
That's right.
It's real hard when you talk about, we want to pay the teachers more, and then we want to build something. If we need to focus on one thing or the other, but I know they go hand in hand.
Well, you put it up there, there's two things. Well, the first one is, that's just moving it over, and that's the money we got for teachers.
That's
If we
one
say
option.
if we want the other option, we could have additional monies, but that would be 2 referendums.
Okay.
That we'd have to do, they'd have to go
Well,
on each
it's
one.
confused I am with it right now, and I know I'm new.
No, it's very confusing, though. It really is.
When the ballot lays out there,
Yes.
it's written weird as all get out. And so when it sits there, they're gonna be like, well, which one's to help the teachers and which one's for the facility? Because you can sell the teacher part. It's gonna be tough to sell the facility than anything in this
Well,
town.
and this would give us, if we wait until the May election, this would give us
Yeah.
from now to February to determine
Yeah.
what options, do
And
we
it,
want to
like
go.
I said, it won't look very much like a knee-jerk reaction.
Right, that's the
It's just
key.
like if we had to leave right here, I could have told you, voted yes or no.
I think this is mainly just to show us the flexibility that we could have with helping our teachers, helping our processes,
If we
daily
stay with 10
processes.
cents, that's how much we get.
If there are other needs, build it, and we would not even raise the taxes that we were charging now. Yes, that's, I think that's.
No, you're right.
And it's all very short-term commitments. I mean, at present, you're looking at 7 years left on the current bonds unless you decide to shorten them. And 10 years on the new money, which is just a projection, could be shorter than that as well, so, not a long-term commitment.
and it goes fast, because I was sitting there thinking, how, 7 years ago, we're gonna get this thing paid
Yeah.
off. And it's paid off. So it goes fast, and whatever you do today, it's gonna get more expensive in the future. Whatever.
Yeah, so cost of construction is increasing currently by about 0.5% a month. Post-COVID, that was up to over 2% a month, 24% a year in just the cost increase of construction materials and labor, not necessarily interest rate or anything else. Luckily, that has slowed back down to about 0.5% a month. So for each year you wait on a facilities project, you're looking at somewhere between 4 to 6% increase in the total cost of that project. And sometimes waiting 6 months till the next election cycle is the right move, even if it costs a little bit more for materials, so.
Well, and the cost of living for staff members, if you could give them a pay increase, the cost of living is just, it just keeps going up too, yeah.
There's a lot of flexibility with those dollars too. I mean, I know there are districts that give that money to teachers in the form of an annual stipend. That way the money can be adjusted from any one year to the next. There are some that take it into their pay scale. I mean, then, and then there are obviously needs outside of teacher pay that may have some prevalence in the budget that is not go to. So you could say 300 toward teacher, 75 towards cost of fuel, other things that have increased in the last 4 or 5 years. And you're struggling to make ends meet on them. So next steps would be kind of identify, it looks like maybe May would be the earliest we would feel comfortable going. We would want to involve the right team. The legal team that worked on your early payoff is top notch.
Yes.
I think we would go back to them and just say, hey guys, we need to get ready for a May of 27. We would help provide information that you might need for communication between now and then. Like I said, I would be happy to come out and do a community meeting, any type of presentation and answer questions for the community as well.
I think that would be great.
It's been done before. I've had bricks thrown in my head too. So.
And I think one of the biggest problems in the past is that, there was times when we were doing a bond and half the folks didn't like what was happening. And if you got anybody working against you, it's not that great. So I think that the biggest thing is that all of us understand the process and we're all on board getting the right message out there because that's what sells it.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly want, at the very least, board unity behind what you're gonna call for. And so you want to have some discussion about what you think is valid here and what you'd be comfortable putting up. And make sure that at least the board members are 100% behind that and willing to at least give explanation and facts to people that have questions. And then you would want to come up with a semblance of a marketing plan as to how to further communicate that information and get it as far out into the community as you can. Smaller communities, a little bit easier to do. So yeah, maybe a handful of meetings, or maybe 1 or 2 open meetings, and then potentially Melissa or a board member could take that presentation to some smaller groups in town. If there's a Rotary or a Lions or other civic clubs that might want to hear about that over lunch, then those type of presentations could be made. And, you know, you can just make sure you're getting that information in the right hands. I know in past campaigns there have been mailers and all kinds of things like that. That is an option. I'm not real sure if this type of communication would take things like mailers and signage and those types of things that you would have to spend dollars on. So, yeah, I mean, you would have plenty of time if you were looking at May of 27 to put that kind of plan together. And then council will provide all the legal documentation, all of the agenda language, make sure your timing on when you're giving notice, posting, and doing all that. So I would say likely by January, at least in this room, you would want to have a consensus on what you wanted to try and do. And then be ready for February. Could potentially even be a special meeting in February, depending on when your regular meeting is, to actually put it on and the agenda, call it, and get it on the ballot.
Or we could have it on our January meeting too.
You could certainly do that in January. Yep.
Make a note of that, but I think that definitely would be the best to put on our January. Please. Well, you've given us a lot of good information.
Thank you.
And we appreciate everything. Does anybody else have any questions for John? Y'all asked a lot of really great questions.
And that's for safe and cyber files, and that's the way Ted Cruz.
Now, I will tell you, the use of FIFA terms in here was really good. You know, when you were heading and you're blocking and tackling, I thought, well, I like how you transitioned that into the weekend. Just saying.
Your Ted's much younger brother, right?
I'll take that. I do get that question pretty often.
Are you the reason why you just use one campaign?
It was John this whole time.
I know that I've taken a few pictures with school boards as Ted Cruz. Currently waiting for a cease and desist letter. We'll see how all that goes, but yeah.
Well, we'll be glad to take one with you. That won't be a problem.
Just
We'll
make
get it
sure
rolling.
you're at Galveston when we go this spring, and we'll get a good picture with you.
I know we'll have somebody there. I don't know who it'll be yet, but Grapevine as well. Some of the other ones you mentioned will be at for sure. So, well, guys, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I'm available to all of you. I mean, if you have any questions or anything coming up, or you start this discussion and need to call, then holler at me. We'll get it all figured out and make sure we're in time with what you guys want to see happen.
Thank you. And please drive safely going home.
So get a copy of that slide, I can see it, but I can't focus on it.
Yes, you certainly can. As a matter of fact, the easiest thing to do would be to just take a copy of that PDF from that flash drive and hang on to it. And eliminate the relay.
That was
Cassie gave us, she said, we can't take them and look for this, we gotta put it in this, because we can't do this to that.
Because he tried, how many times?
Oh, we,
Every time
She's
we
like,
talk.
can't do that, no, can't.
Window behind it.
so before they start.
Yeah, you can see Dublin, ISD. There it is right there. Right click
I
on
can use
that.
the cliff notes, so.
Yeah, Dublin, the Dublin folder. Look there.
It is all right.
And then right click on
Drew.
that and hit it.
This is all very nice, really nice.
And then go to your desktop. and right click on
Glad you're enjoying it.
Mountains are in there.
And then next month we'll have our, oh,
So,
There it
did you
is.
see the way, yeah, it is, did you see the way I was gonna go down doing it? I guess there's always three, multiple
Multiple
ways
ways
to
to
do
solve
it.
that problem, yeah.
There we go, and I'm a math teacher, so, thank you. I'm gonna eject yours.
And each one of them can be spent for this or not.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
appreciate your time.
All right.
Thanks, Ted.
Mr. President. Mr. President,
I'm talking, yes.
I'm making a motion.
I know that. Is it on here or are you just making it up?
It's on it.
Okay, I'm just asking. Yes.
And I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Do you need help?
Well, now, will you come get me that?
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, we just did the first one.
Because
You need to open it back up.
Where are we at?
So Cassie, do you want to talk a little bit about closing out the budget? And this is Cassie's really busy, stressful time of year when she's trying to close out one budget and create a new budget. And Cassie has done an excellent job with some things in the budget this year. But Cassie, do you want to say a few things?
24, 25, we're just kind of rolling along, trying to let everything shake out. Looking at, we're still waiting to get money from the insurance company on finishing up the roof claim. That's the biggest thing. But other than that, I think we're sitting pretty good as far as expenses and staying within budget and all of that. 24, 25 is looking pretty good. Or I guess 25, 26, a year in the past, I guess. 26, 27, we got certified values from Erath County on Friday. I'm still waiting on values from, Comanche, but our values grew significantly in Erath County. And I figure there will be some growth in Comanche County. I'm just not sure how much yet. So I can't get I don't have good revenue numbers yet because I don't know what those values are gonna look like. But should be close to where we are currently this year. That it should be pretty close. We've built in some things for you guys to vote on tonight as far as some salary increases. So it looks good. It still has some things built in for some improvements, like maybe at the bus barn for covering all the vehicles there. We've got some,
So maybe if we get a really bad hailstorm, our buses won't be out of commission the next day. Hopefully, it's no guarantee, but it won't hurt.
and I think we've got built in maybe for another bus or two and a couple of, district vehicles that we might be needing to upgrade on some of those things. So we've got some things built in for some improvements. The only other thing I'm really waiting on is our property casualty insurance renewal. Not real sure what that's gonna look like after 2 hailstorms. But we have not received that renewal, those rates yet on that. So that's just, those are kind of the last few things that we're waiting on.
And right now, we're on target to have a balanced budget, which is very, very, a nice position to be in, where a lot of schools don't have that same luxury. They have had to adopt a deficit budget, so that is good news for us.
I did my very best to find all the Easter eggs that I can so that we could stay out.
Yes, yes. There are a few new staff contracts right now, and I believe all of our teacher positions are full. But the last 3 that we have offered a contract to, Erica Grimm, who was our Lion Cub Learning Academy daycare director. She has taken a position at the elementary to be the elementary music teacher. So I think she will do an excellent job in that position. She has a lot of experience with the littles. Jeannie Malone is going back to the secondary campus. She is one of our retired teachers, so we're glad to get Jeannie back. She is going to be teaching.
8th grade reading.
That's what I thought, but I didn't, I thought, well, I may say that, and that'll be the wrong thing. 8th grade reading, so we're excited to have her. She has reading experience. And our last new hire is Michaela Leos. She is a recent Tarleton graduate, new to the Dublin area, but not new. She went to school at Tarleton. She came from, is it San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Seems like a delightful young lady. We're glad to have her, and she is going to be teaching 7th grade social studies.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so we're excited to have her join our team as well. I think we have all positions filled except for
One instructional aid
one
position.
instructional aid position at the secondary. So, good news, we're excited about that.
Okay. Number 10, consent agenda.
Been there. I don't know.
Just didn't want to get ahead while we're doing, check it
So
off.
we didn't talk about health insurance.
Health insurance, there is gonna be an increase on that. I was gonna hit that when we got your compensation plan. There is gonna be an increase in health insurance. I think every insurance, there's an increase every year. Doesn't matter if it's property casualty, health, whatever. So when we get to our compensation plan, that was one of the highlights. I was going to suggest that we put $50 more a month towards our employees' health insurance, so that would take it up to $375 a month to try to help. Is it gonna cover all the increase? No, but at least it will help a little bit. Yes. Yes, it does.
All right, number 10, consent agenda as follows.
Perfect.
I would like to make that motion, if somebody would second.
I'll second.
Okay,
Thank you, James, appreciate you.
I got you, don't you worry.
any discussion, all in favor? Okay. Good job. Student code of conduct.
The only change from our student code of conduct, we took out corporal punishment. I'm about to get it right. Yes. And I think you all know why we took out the corporal punishment.
Absolutely.
So that's the only change to the student handbook.
Okay. I move to approve the 2026 to 2027 student code of conduct as presented.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, got a second, Ryan? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Good job. All right,
Just pick one.
number 12. Number 12, set proposed tax rate.
Okay, this is just proposing the tax rate. This is not actually setting it yet because we can't do that.
Okay.
What is that, 755.2? That was our MNO rate this last year. The INS rate, as you can see, is 0, because we can't, like John just discussed, we can't set a tax rate for INS because we don't have any debt to pay on the INS side. I was looking at it today, best guess, best estimate, that 7552 will probably be what the MNO will be next year, but without having values from Comanche, I can't set that just yet, but, it will be at least that or lower, depending on compression and growth and all of those things.
Okay. We have a motion.
Nobody wants to read that.
I got it. I move to approve the proposed tax rate for 2026, 2027 for maintenance and operation of 0.7552 per $100 of evaluation, and for interest and singing of 0.00 per $100 of evaluation. Total proposed tax rate of 0.7552 for 2026, 2027.
Got it. Second.
All right, we got a second?
Got it.
Okay, we've had a second, any discussion? Just went over all that, that's good. All in favor? Awesome.
Thank you, Ryan, and great job.
It was good.
Yes, yes.
Sissy, put that in the paper.
All right, number 13, consider an act on the 26-27 DISD efficiency payment for district employees.
And this is the same efficiency payment that we approved last year, and it is based on years of service. The lowest amount is $500 per employee, the highest amount is $1,500 per employee, and that will be paid in their November paycheck, and that helps do a little bit of Black Friday Christmas shopping. Not a lot, but a little bit less.
I'll make that motion, that we move that the board approve a one-time efficiency payment for the 2026-2027 school year on a graduated scale not to exceed $1,500 based on years of service in the district to be paid in November 2026.
Got a motion on the floor, got a second?
Second.
Got a second, James, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Awesome. Okay, number 15, consider an act on Dublin ISD at-will employee salaries.
Compensation plan?
Compensation plan first.
Okay, I guess we're gonna do the, it is, I can't mention it all. I don't wanna do that. All right, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, but I didn't wanna miss this one, I just overlooked it, sorry.
Yes.
This is to consider an act on our employee compensation plan. I want to highlight a few things that we've done this year. We've added a junior high drill stipend because this year is our first year to have a junior high drill team. And I'm super excited about that. I saw a lot of young ladies working really hard this morning at drill camp. So we've added a junior high drill stipend for, was it 1,800? What was it?
1,500.
15 for junior high drill team.
We've updated the teacher pay scale, and we would like to add $1,000 to the teacher pay plus their step. So the $1,000 pay increase plus their annual step is anywhere between 2.5% to 6.5% per employee, depending on where they fall on that pay scale, new years of service. We increased our junior high wage play stipend from $800 to $1,000. The sub pay, all groups, long-term, certified, non-certified, in all groups got a pay increase of $2 an hour on that. We increased the health insurance per employee, another $50, so that'll be $375 per employee towards their health insurance. The instructional specialist stipend, we increased that to $9,000 because the teachers got the $8,000 pay increase last year, and they work a little bit longer, and it's got to be a little bit more, so in order to recruit someone, we increased that. And then the art facilitator stipend, we increased that to $5,000 because we have an art facilitator this year. We have not had one in the past. However, Ms. Mitchell could not find a certified diagnostician, so she hired the art facilitator while she works on her diagnostician certification as well. And then I would like to do an $8,000 pay raise for the admin because historically they get a 2% pay raise, which is not a whole lot, about $1,200. But I feel like with the teacher getting the state pay raise last year, then it's time to pay that for administrators too, because we've had some administrators where their daily rate was lower than some of the teachers' rates. So that's all the highlights of our compensation.
We took care of 15, 16, 17, and 14 all in that one one shot. That was,
You knew I was full of hot air.
you were on. Now, I will say this about admin day, real quick. Been there, done that. And, to keep everything like it is, and the more that's on our principals, with the evaluation process now that they've got to go through, as well as everything else, and being the CEO of their campus. Sometimes it looks like that principal's making more than what the teacher is, but if you look at their daily rate, you're gonna see that some people that have experienced teachers on their staff make more per day than what the admin does. The admin works more hours, more days, so obviously their pay is up there, so, I think that eight grand is a good move. So I
Well,
just want to give
and-
my 2 cents on that.
When we start implementing the teacher incentive allotment, the teachers in our area will be eligible. The low end was,
79,000,
and the upper end was,
between 25 and 30.
so.
That was the thing that started last year. And so as they grow into the years, they.
No, that's just the teacher incentive allotment that we've applied for. We're still in
Okay, yeah,
the
yeah.
beginning stages of that, and, it's based on student growth.
Okay.
And their teacher
That-
appraisal. Yes, yes,
But the incentive thing that came from the state last year,
yes.
when teachers get to that point in years, do they automatically get lumped into that, or was that only for last year?
No, that's
That's a
from here on out.
continuing thing.
That's a continuing thing?
As long as the state provide, as
Right.
long as the state
Yes.
supports that.
Okay.
Yes. Good question.
Till they put it back on the local.
Yeah.
That's what,
And they will, more than
You know.
likely.
that's a great idea.
Question here, we have, that was 14.
Yeah, let's do 14, because we'll see if 15 has a motion and 16 has a motion. Since we kind
Let's
of,
share the well. I'll do the first one.
let's do 14.
Yes.
I'm gonna do 14.
All right,
I move that the board approve the Dublin ISD employee compensation plan as per.
motion on the floor, got a second? All right, Cole's got a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, he's in the game. All right, next one, 15.
Yes, this is a pay increase for our at-will, our hourly, people. And, I think last year we gave them a 4%, Cassie?
Yes,
Yes.
that's kind of been our standard.
Yes, and with the cost of living that just continues to go up, I wish I could do so much more for every employee. Unfortunately, we have so much money. But I would like to, suggest that we give a 7% increase for our at-will.
I move that the board approve 7% increase for Dublin ISD at-will employee salaries as presented.
I've got a motion on the floor, got a second. Brian, any discussion? All in favor? Awesome. Okay. Consider an act on the administrator salaries now.
I discussed this earlier, I'm sorry, I did. I gave you an overview of everything all at once.
I move that the board approve the $8,000 increase for Dublin ISD administrator salaries as presented.
Motion on the floor, got a second.
That was a good.
Okay, Ramon's got a second. Any discussion?
That's just an 8,000 added to their current salary, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Good call. All in favor? Okay. Good job, guys. All right, number 17. I think we're on time now.
Yes, back on track.
Back on track.
17, these are just the normal Region 11 contracts, the services that are, that we pay for, that Region 11 provides to us. We have some services with Region 11 and some with Region 14. We had both on at two separate, action items. However, the next one is Region 14. We don't have that yet. They have not given that to us yet, so that will be next month. So tonight, we'll just focus on the Region 11 contracts.
All right.
I move to approve the ESC Region 11 contract for the 2026-2027 school year as presented.
Motion on the floor, got a second. James, thank you. All in any discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, so we'll skip 18, 19, we're good? All right, sounds good. 22.
I think we should go in closed session so they can wait
Oh,
for Boy Scouts is like they're excited.
that's just gross. They're here and Paul's here. Paul hasn't had to sit through a closed session, so.
Well, before we close, and this is not on the agenda, but before we close, just because I see Leslie Chapman sitting out in the audience, if y'all have not been following the Dublin Girls Athletic Program, we're about to see a change with our girls program, and it's about to start making that curve to go in a different direction, a really positive direction. And these coaches and these young ladies are having fun, they're getting after it, and y'all's excitement is truly contagious, and I am fired up and I cannot wait to see what's ahead of our girls program. But I was so excited about this, and I saw you sitting there, so I had to. Yes,
Do
yes.
we have to do 21?
Yes. It's our garden.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Sorry, I got excited.
Yeah. I read the last part.
Yes, this is just the action that we have to take to identify our school guardians for this upcoming school year. Y'all have that list of names.
All right. I move that the board approve the resolutions identifying certain school employees to be authorized under Texas Penal Code 46.03 to carry a firearm on school premises, at school sponsored and school-led activities, in school vehicles and at school board meetings in accordance with the provisions of board policy CKC local as presented, noting this information is not subject to open records request as a per state law.
Got a motion on the floor, got a second. Got a second, James. Any discussion? All in favor?
I watched making tacos.
She's not. I
Sorry,
know.
We gotta do 22, we gotta tell you when the next board meeting is. Be August 31st. I got that, and that'll be,
Last
that'll
thing.
be tax rate too. Proposed budget, tax rate. all that.
Budget, tax rate,
Okay,
Do it the whole shebang.
budget amendment, all the fun things.
August 31st.
all right. 23, is it, can we get Angelica on the phone?
I move to adjourn at 7:16 p.m.
7:06 p.m. Got a motion, got a second. Cole got a second. All in favor? See you next month. Good job.